Sanibonani. 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 Sicela wonke umuntu ongaphandle angene. Then laba abaphuma nabo baya nabo lapha ngaphandle. Bayazi ukuthi why babakhiphe. Good morning to everyone. My name is Grace Nanki Matibela. I'm the MMC responsible for LED and finances in Tshwete. However, today I'm going to be the program director. First of all, before we start, let me greet the Executive Mayor, Baba Mhlonisho Masilela. Greet also the Chief Whip of Council, Babu Usihlewa Kamshilwane, MMC present, Usandral, Nokonko. And of course, all the SMMEs of Tshwete local municipality. Before we start, I would like also to send my greetings to Abondabezita, Sitibayete, Bondabezita. Business chambers that are here today, we know them. Our very own NAFCOC, Middleburg Chamber of Commerce, if it's here, good morning. Can we please start the session by prayer? Mangabukhona baba umfundisi ohola umoya asivulele lo mhlangano ngomthandazo. Let us wait for them. If they are not going to cooperate, we will deal with them as such. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Gakopela rituale macho bana betu. Mudimo tate, mudimo mora, mudimo moya o halalelang. Bana ba gago ke bantate mo kopanong e galalelang morena modimo wa go kakala o lebitso le legolo mabaledi ke kopa gore tsamaiso ya go tate tsamaye e leng ka la gago lebitso ntate o eteletse pele go bana wena o modimo ntate e bile o modimo o theile le godimo le lefatshe o modimo o sa tlholweng ke selo tate e leng ka Jesu Kriste morwa gago Jehova o ile nga re gatela lefu morena a re siela bone bophelo bo bo sa feleng le jana ka bosena bokhutlo amen.
Re a leboga tate Mruti. I'll go straight to the program. I'll call Baba Mhlonishwa, the Executive Mayor, to come and welcome us.
Sanibonani. Sanibonani. Good morning. Ngithatha lethuba ngibingelele MMC, the program director. And then the Chief Whip of Council, the MMC Mkwana. Special greetings to the Sandral, the contractor and the consultant. They're here in front of the desk. And then also Creator Ndabezita, the Chamber of Commerce and also the NAFCOC. And all of also business to Tshwete. Although yesterday I'm told about Ward 5, but disrupted umhlangano. Bafowethu eSouth Africa asinama thuba omsebenzi Sandral njobe ithatha izindlela ezi5 zala Tshwete ukuthi izozilungisa. Part of it is a N11, so the N11 in a budget yayo and a right for abantu Tshwete ukuthi singakhona share maningi lama package akhona. There's no need ukuthi singalwa. And Sandral maying brief last week mayla ithi abantu be youth bazo benefit. Abantu abaphila ngokukhubazeka bazo benefit. All the structures, they will make sure ukuthi lama package siya benefit. And we don't expect ukuthi umphakathi wethu or umaseshishini wethu baphazamiswa umuntu oyifunela umsebenzi ongasoma business. Abantu abalanga bathatha ukuthi bonke soma business, they will apply with a presentation ezwenziwa icontract. And ngiyacela asiparticipateni sibuzeni and bazosichazela ukuthi ke ukuya phambili sisebenza kanjani. Kungenzeka ukuthi thina senza amaphutha thina sokumasipala kungenzeka, but icriteria yabo abathize bacela ukuthi kube ne-PLC bathe bacela a one veteran. There's one veteran that asimazi ukuthi nala mabathi bacela umuntu ophethe abantu abadisable angeke uyolana noma ubani uya straight le structure uyathatha uyafaka. So I'm trying to say we agree the municipality ngenza ukuthi niyahlala khona ayi ba wrong, but the formula that is coming with the SANRAL is different. It's so different. Even the not the CLO, what? The PLO. They advertise is closing on the 19th. Those who want to participate to ABA PLO got a chance. But there are minimum requirements that are needed. You must write English, you must talk, kuluma sezulu, ndebele. Yabona? So siyacela ukuthi lama package abazowa present. I don't want to present them. But niyawazi ukuthi maningi. Please, let's participate. Sonke la, ngiyani welcome nonke abangahlala Steve Tshwete, mhlambe ngiyazi ngisho nabo malahleni bayafika basivakashela. Nabo Moroka and whatever uThembisile. Bathole ukuthi khona ngapha, amanye angapha. You are more than welcome bantu base Steve Tshwete siyabonga.
Thank you, Executive Mayor, for a clarity. Yeah, what happened Izolo, we like to really apologize on behalf of all Steve Tshwete, local municipality resident, Mamelba. We are not like that. We are not like that. And however, we like also to apologize to the community of Steve Tshwete or the business people. If umaspala agenzanga kahle or you feel like the municipality didn't clarify ukuthi why SANRAL ayenze asinike le formula asinike yona to appoint the PLC. However, we felt ukuthi it will be fair ukuthi si accommodate abantu base Hendrina nabantu base Pull and Soap in Hendrina Cosmos Hall and abantu bala eMiddleburg per se la Banquet Hall. It was not anything different kuleyo. So siyaxolisa kakhulu ngale misunderstanding, but ke formula esphiwe yona formula yaka SANRAL akusiye yethu because this project national, it's not for local municipalities. Ngizawusuka ke ngiye ku presentation on no the purpose of the day. Purpose of the day sizoyithola ku SANRAL by Miss Melba Geqa. Singamphakamisa asasukume ngiyabonga.
Sanbonan Molweni. Oh, ningathi nidiniwe yini sana ndiniphathele indaba ezimnandi kanga. Nave nachafa. Bahlali, I think the last time I was here, it was sometime last year, ngo March. Sine taking SANRAL la Steve Tshwete. Sa presenter, satsho futhi ukuthi sizawuqasha main contract for N11. Siya deliver ke SANRAL. Asikhulumi isingisi. Siyasaqasha ke sa advertiser mos. As advertiser for amathuba main contractor as advertiser, anyone in South Africa can participate as long as you are a grade 9 and you meet the compliance. And I'm happy to say Iconco was successful in the bidding. Conco gentlemen, if you can stand up so that they can see you with the lady. Yeah. Ngabaphathi basekhonko laba bashayeleni izandla. Siyabonga. And then ke abantu bebesenzela i-design yalomgaqo omhle enizawubona ka N11 uKPK Phakamani. Right. I-purpose yethu yokwenza i-information sessions. It's not because it's no budget yokudlala. It's because we care about the stakeholders in areas where we operate. It's very important that we have this engagement so that you understand the opportunities that this project is going to come up with, so that you can also prepare yourself to participate accordingly. That is why we are doing that. We're doing it because asifuni ukuthi nivese nisibone senibona nge-TLBs nge-dust nibona ukuthi oh uSandra usho ukuthi uqashile. We respect you as stakeholders. We want you to participate accordingly. You are our partners in this business. Kubuhlungu ke when we are coming with this information that will enable you to grow as business and some of you to get job opportunities, then you guys will disturb us. We are a national agency. Asizange zoxoxa indaba zenu zokuhlala. Asingeni ndawo. But sifuna ni participate and benefit in everything that we do as a Central. And ngiyayicela lonto leyo ukuthi it's going to be a long 3 years. Ngicela sibekezelane, ngicela sirespectane, because upresident wecountry ushilo ukuthi projects they need to be implemented. Anyone ozoba stumbling block, then the law will take its own course on that. Angifuneki bakhayiza nizanga zokulwa la and ningazanga zokunilwisa. Ndiphethe iproject esifuna senguSandral ni participate kuyo. Siqashile ke ikhonko. Okuza kwenzeka namhlanje bazawupresenta lento siyibiza into bana i-contract participation goal CPG plan. Bazoyipresenta kwenza into bana niwabonela ama-packages esiza nawo nani ke nikwazi ukuzifita in ni-compete. There is also on our Sandral website an expression of interest that has been shared by uKonko. Feed that one up. Get into our website. It's free. As long as you've got a gadget, whether it's a phone, like a smartphone, or a laptop, or whatever that you have, you can get in there. Size namathuba e business, namathuba omsebenzi. Asizanga zokunelwisa. Asizanga nayo enye into except the road, which is N11 esizengayo up. And on top of that, maybe masele kupresentiwe nguKonko, because maybe let me summarize it now. We have taken an extra 52 kilometers singu Sandral apha Tshwete. Sishayeleni izandla for London. Minis gemigaqo, I've got them here. I will talk about that later. Ukuthi ngeyiphi le migaqo. Because we care about this municipality, we care about the mobility and the safety of people. And I know that there is a hospital that has been built, and some of Lamigaqo will allow you guys and give you access to get there. So that is what we are here for. So imandate yethu nje iclear ngumgaqo. Ukuthi awunamanzi, ayi aso department yethu. Ukuthi khona into awunasikole, ngiyaxolisa, asanga ngaloko. Size nje ngemigaqo ukuthi siyenze. So sizoyilalela ke ipresentation ephuma eKonko, sithi sawuqeda sibuze imibuzo. Nami ndine issues, I've got a bone to pick up with you stakeholders, and especially with this thing of PLC. Kuzakwaziwana zizawulima etsheni because nisile. Kunabantu apha bayazazi ijeli balindele. Abathi xa behleli kwi-PLCs masixoxa si-shortlister, because we need to validate locality, siprotecte umasipalati wenu, siprotecte nina. Bafonela ama-companies Athi, yeah, I need money, I can get you a contract at Sandra. Ndiyawabulela Loma company. I thank those businesses that raise a flag. But it's your abuse. I thank you because when someone, a PLC member, does not have the power to appoint, not even to add to say, "Hi, man, Middleburg Consulting, they don't have that power. The responsibility that we gave the PLC is the validation of locality and to make sure the 30% that we said we are going to spend, we are spending locally. So executive mayor, beningekatholi isikhathi bakhona ke bayazi baseviwe abanye babizolo sizobabamba because wrong into abayenzileyo. Corruption bafethu asidlali. We mean business. Asifuni corruption. Yes, amathuba are limited and there's many of you, but compete. Compete fairly. That's all we want. Not all of you are going to get the opportunities, even though that I'm hoping for that. But the ones that are going to get is because they competed, not because the PLC member or whoever gave them the opportunity. Let's allow, is it Conco or KPK that is going to do the presentation?
You are not done. Skosi, you can sit down. You can sit down, Ma'am, but you're not done. You must tell them about the formula.
The PLC?
Yes.
Oh. I need PLC. Okay. Kuqala, let me start it from the beginning, how we used to do it. Sasifika mosi kwale phila yam eSandrali established ngo 2016. Nani ke abadala ontanga bam, they will know ukuthi these engagements were never there. And the Sandrali were approaching almost 30 years now. We would come to a hall and you guys will nominate and whatever. We stopped doing that. Simply because kunabantu abavese ba mobilize and yet there are thugs bazovotelwa apha. Then the board of Sandra said, let's go to the municipality and request, because whatever that we are requesting, municipality already have these consequences. So we go to the municipality and say, municipality, we've got a project. We need to establish a PLC. Who do we want in that PLC? We don't care about the wards. You could have 20 wards, sifuna abantu abayi-8. Because it's not about the wards, it's about the consequences, right? Sifuna umuntu ozawurepresenta i-youth. Sifuna umuntu ozawurepresenta women. Sifuna umuntu ozawurepresenta people with disability. Abantu abafana nami ke abo. Sifune umuntu ozawurepresenta i-business. Sifune i-security. I-security ke madoda siyithatha kwa SAPS. Ne? Sifuna umuntu ozawurepresenta i-agriculture. Sifune umuntu ozawurepresenta i-transport. Sifune umuntu ozawurepresenta amakhosi. Sifune umuntu, oh yeah, there is another stakeholder, like because of the other issues that they have with track. Sanko, transport and museum. Sinayo no Sanko, PLC. So now, all of these consequences, they already exist within the local municipality. City South, once it's told a list, and it says, if we list, we let ahead to municipality because it's got nothing to do with Sandra. City South Batola, Siba Indad. We've already done that. These are the people who need to share information with you. These are the people who are going to validate locality yenu. These are the people that are going to make sure that if best test is of spender 2 million, sim spendile 2 million. La Steve Tshwete. Siqede futhi sungusandral. Not to Sandra, the consultant kule project ke madoda ngu KPK. Consulting engineers. Ngabo aba advertiser, I position we do not elect. Ngabo aba-advertiser i-position ye-project liaison officer. Asinayo i-CLO thina kwi-project zase-Central. CLOs fumaneka ko-Municipality mhlawumbi nako-Public Works. And we would appreciate into yobana you can respect our policies and guidelines and how we do business. It's a little bit different because we are national. So, la ad is out, I think it's been out for the past 2 or 3 weeks. It's closing on the 19th of May. Anyone who is interested is welcome to apply. KPK will shortlist and they will do interviews. It's the consultant that appoints. So knowing me, it's not going to help you on anything in this project because I do not have powers to appoint. Whether ufuna umsebenzi or you are here for business. My role is to say to you, wake up, ithuba lifikile, and participate. That's me. This is the indaba. Babe ndingumKristu ngesithi ndizisa indaba ezilungileyo. But ke andazi noma ndithanaza kangakanani na, but ndizisa indaba kona. So that nizokulungisa ukuhlala. Nilungise abo CIDB benu. Nabo khoida benu, nabo BEE benu. Nilungisa amaphepha enu ukwenzela into yobana nizokwazi uparticipate. So sitholile ilist kwamasipala sa inductor, and that PLC is the PLC for this project of N11. And if you are a PLC member, the project as a Central, it doesn't matter ubana ndizenye project, you shall not participate. Asifuni kwa colluding asifune matata. Siyezwana? Because ndizawubuya around September xa sesithetha nge-RRM. Siyezwana? So ikhona position PLO is still open. It's closing next week, Monday, the 19th. All those who would like to apply must apply. It's not an election. You don't elect. It's not about umgaqo uphi. It's about the municipality. So we call you targeted enterprise. As long as you reside in this municipality, ungwala, you are allowed to participate. So inobana azothi umuntu hayi thina singaba la sifuchana nomgaqo. I-PLO is supposed, no, it's not. This is Central. Unfortunately, funeka ndithethe inyani ukwenzela into yobana ni understand how Central operates. And also ninganyusi expectations zenu. I'm not going to stand here and lie because ndifuna uthandwa nini. Because I know one thing for sure, niyandithanda ngoku benicima fama nindithanda. Senindithanda already. So it's a municipality thing. It's not a ward thing. It's not about the proximity to the project. And all that goes. And also when it comes to jobs, though, we look at wards because this is a big project. We would like every ward to participate in terms of jobs. Khona social facilitators here, especially if we're talking about general labor. Sizoyofuduwa. Sibe ne-list. Mamelani ke xa kufuduwa. Kamnandi akufuduwi kwamna and mna ndizalane nomnye umuntu la eMpumalanga. Othi uzalana nami uyaxoxa. Kuzawufuduwa kufuduwa ke madoda kuya ngokuthi unelakhi kangakanani uthandaza kangakanani umakhulu wakho unjani. Uyabona mos. If umakhulu wakho is the best magogo lapha estratweni into zakho zizahamba phashasha. If you get, you know, and as so ufuduwe kuhamba njalo guys, but i-employment i-labor funeka siye in each and every ward. Siyezwana? Nansi into sizawuyenza sizawusebenzisana nama-council social workers facilitators khona sizawulathela nifake i-ID zenu phayana kushekwe kufaka isandla kukhutshwe igama. Siyezwana? And then there will be a semi-skilled. There will be jobs that will then have to participate, especially if you have a skill. We will also look at the interns, especially those kids that are from TVET, that are from technicons and varsity, who have done some civil engineering and other engineering that we might need in this project. We would like them to come and participate, get the internship in our project. It's very important. There's no way that we can have this magnitude of a project and then when a student la esenze engineering la kulo municipality esithi sidinga indawo ye in service sikhona for local. We will assist those students. Ngiyabonga. Let's get into the business of the day ngoba na ndiyayazi into enizelelo la nifuna ukwazi ukuthi athina amathuba zithina ezi packages and we are hoping to commence ke next month. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, ma'am. Before Babu Skosan, because ngiyabona ukuthi abantu be-screen basese busy. Angisho bantu base Steve Tshwete siyabazi laba abafaka le screen. Siyabazi angisho? Asibazi. Ay. Thabo. Bala imiclipeka ngeke ngiqale. Yeah. Sandral ucashe kahle. Ubani? Hayi wena. Yeah, phambi kokuthi ubaba uSikhosana apresente bengicela ukuthi abantu base Steve Tshwete bazi ukuthi iPLC yethu bobani and wena izolo eHenrina uyazazi ukuthi bowenzani and you part of the PLC uzophuma because you can't be part of the PLC then kube uwe futhi ostopa uSandral ukuthi apresente. Sizocala Steve Tshwete. Steve Tshwete, we have executive director wethu umama ulindiwe uSlolo, executive director we infrastructure. She is part of EPLC. However, she will be represented by umama UN Ndaba. Angisho siyazi ukuthi iPLC most of the time bazohlala ema meeting in. So umamlindi umsebenzi wakhe mkhulu kakhulu. So office in lakhe uzomelwa UN Undaba. And basa attend the exco but ngiyacabanga ukuthi bazofika. Then sino director development and strategic support STLM ubaba uJohannes Silas se office in la LED ioffice la mina ngikhona uzomela uSifiso Mshitele mangabe ukhona umashitela angasukuma mshitele khona uSifiso. Okay, siyaxolisa niyamaza ngisho. Yeah, base meeting in bazofika boyithu bano Ndaba. Then ku ma member of mayoral committee MMC infrastructure uMarumo Jim Tshwete. Thina gege sizohlala uma basidinga for ukuyomonitor. Bese ke uGrace Mathibela yimi. Then sino Mampheho olapha ukuzosiza Ward 5. Mampheho Ward Council. Yo. Then sino woman representative uPopi wakasibia. She's from Henrina. We have youth representative uOpa wakamkwena. Opa mkwena. Uphi? Opa mkwena ngiyacabanga yilaba baphume nalaba beba disturb izolo. He's from Ward 5. We have people with disability representative uKhulekani Lukhele. Khulekani Lukhele. Military veteran representative, General wetu, Baba Donald Mdebele. Abaningi bamazi ngoBravuvu. Yeah. Business representative, Nomfundo Tusi. She's from Henrina. We've got business representative, Kenneth Mayepa, Ward 5. Niyabona ukuthi abantu be-PLC benzani? Yilaba bebavala izolo. We have agriculture, Pasika.
One, two.
Tulane Mthethwa. Oh, siya. Representative yangapha eMklibe. LVC nange lapha emuva umqo representative angazi ngiphi Jerry hey angifunde Jerry Gawu Gopan. Since ngishilo ke this our PLC members bala Steve Tshwete and laba bayizolo sisayohlala noma Melba asho ukuthi kuthathiwa wapi ama steps for disciplinary. We cannot just sibakhiphele ngaphandle without having a meeting nabo. So esikhathini samanje, and I'm trying to buy time. Are we ready? Screen put given. But okay, it's fine. Babuskosan, ungezwe presentela. I think bazobhima lapha ku screen.
Lochani, Ninjani, Nkona. Ngiyajabula ukuthi ngibe nani la namhlanje. Mina njengoba sekushiwo ukuthi ngingu-engineer we project. Ngibheke phambili ekusebenzisaneni nani bantu be Steve Tshwete. Before ngiqhubekela phambili, so ngizokhuluma nge-project ngichaze kabanzi ukuthi yini esiyoyenza ngithi. And ngizothi mangiqeda bese i-contractor aqhubeke ngepresentation bese aqhaze ukuthi i-CPG ijame njani ukuthi amathuba azokuba khona ngimaphi. Kan nie Engels praat nie? Okay, no worries, I'll speak English, sorry. All right, so I just wanted to speak is in Ndebele at the introduction because that's the language that's widely spoken la. But ngiyabonga ngethuba lokukhuluma. So esizokwenza In fact, before ngikhuluma project, there's something that was not mentioned earlier on ngendaba ye-PLO. Angithi sithi kune advert ye-PLO eranayo manje. So one thing is that if you are a PLO, if you are appointed as a PLO, you're not allowed to tender. All right. I just wanted to mention that. You're not allowed to now submit your company to tender for the work. Okay. Just want to mention that. Now, when it comes to the project, which I want to now explain to you just briefly, you won't be able to see the screen because we still have those technical issues, but I just want to, I'll just mention what will happen and how big the project is. So the project starts at Hendrina Power Station, and that's at kilometer 18,5, and then it stops at the N4 interchange. That's at kilometer 41,9. So what that means is that the length of the road is about 23,5 kilometers. That's a big project, and that is why it is expected that there will be a lot of opportunities for the local people. The contract duration is 30 months, right, which is expected of a project of this magnitude. And that there will be a 3 months mobilization period, which started on the 14th of March. And that 3 months mobilization period it will end on the 14th of June, which means on the 14th of June, the contractor will start constructing the project on site. That's the 14th of June. And as it is mentioned, the client is Sandral, and then the contractor is Conco, and then I am from the professional team, which is KBK Engineers. So if you look at the N11, section 9, which constitutes the project now, you've seen the condition of it, right? It's difficult to drive there. In fact, when we've driven on it yesterday, you get very often that there's a pothole that spans the whole lane, or the whole lane width, which is quite dangerous to drive there. So the whole N11 is going to be upgraded, the whole 23,5 kilometers. And nothing of the existing road will be used on the new infrastructure. So all of what exists will be removed, and then completely new road or new pavement layers will be brought into being. At the moment, the N11 it's about 7.4 meters wide, which means it's only 2 lanes. It accommodates traffic going in one direction on one lane and traffic going in the other direction in one lane, right? But what we will do, or what this project will do, is to make it wider. Instead of 2 lanes, you're going to have 3 wide lanes, each lane being wide enough to accommodate even heavy vehicles. So you're going to have 3, and then the third lane will alternate. In one section, it will be on the right, and in another section, it will be on the left. But you're also going to have wide shoulders. So, for example, if there's a slow-moving vehicle, it should be able to drive on the shoulder so that the faster-moving vehicles can pass, right? So what that means then is that it will be much safer to drive on the road once it is completed. As I've mentioned earlier on, the pavement structure, the pavement just refers to the layers of the road that the contractor construct. The pavement structure will be completely new, and then the designed new pavement structure is going to be deep enough for the road to last about 20 years, carrying all the heavy traffic on the road. And then one thing also that's worth mentioning is that the road level at the moment, it's quite close to the natural ground level, which means that if it rains, there's puddles of water, which compromises the integrity of the road or the pavement structure. But what this project will do is to raise the road level, right? Because if you do that, then even if it rains, even if there's puddles of water, the structure will be protected, or the structure of the road will be protected. And what the advantage of that is that the new road will last longer, That is the advantage of it. And then just among some of the things that will be done is the drainage. At the moment, you have culverts with a specific capacity which is no longer adequate to accommodate the water that they receive. So we're going to replace a lot of the culverts. We're going to construct new major culverts. And then there's only one bridge, which is the bridge over the railway. That bridge will also be widened so that it can take, in fact, the current width will be doubled with this project. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking if the screens are ready. Then I can project some of these to you. All right, can you see the screens? Are you able to see what's projected? Okay, you can see there? Or the light? Because of the light, you're not able to see. Okay. Okay. So, is it going to get laptop? So here's another thing. If you've driven on the N11, right? Have you ever driven on the N11 and then you want to turn right, sorry, you want to turn left or turn right, and then you feel pressured by the traffic behind you because they're going to bump you from the back, right? So that problem is going to be resolved with this new project, because we're going to construct auxiliary lanes. Like if you turn left, there will be a turning lane. So you're going to get out of the through traffic and then you are safe to turn left. If you want to turn right again, you get out of the through traffic and then it's safe to turn right. And that will be done throughout the whole road. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain, even without the screens. They're trying to resolve the screens problem, but I don't think it's necessary for... All right, so I hope on the screen you can see the layout that we're projecting there. I want the slideshow. Yes, I want the slideshow. Must I go there? But it's all right, so what you see here is the new cross section of the road. As you can see, I've mentioned earlier on that it's going to be three lanes at any given time. You're going to have two lanes going in one direction, and then you're going to have one lane in the other direction. I hope you can see my cursor there. But on both sides, you're going to have wide shoulders to accommodate traffic there. And then this is just a pavement layer. I mentioned earlier on that it's going to be a deep pavement layer to make sure that the road lasts for many years to come. This is another pavement layer. And then here, this is just the layout that I was describing. This shows the layout at the beginning of the project. That's kilometer 18.5 there. And the Enrina power station is located on this side here. And then this is also the layout, but it's the end of the layout. It's at the N4 interchange. That's where the project stops. All right, this is what I was explaining about turning lanes, making sure that nobody bumps you from the back and that it's safe to turn left, it's safe to turn right. So you can see here, this is the left auxiliary lane, where if you want to turn left, you can get out of the through traffic and drive there. And then there are right turning lanes as well here. Okay, this is about drainage. As I mentioned, we're going to construct many new culverts, and this is just a typical drainage schedule that shows the new culverts that will be constructed. And this is the railway bridge. The top section shows you the existing bridge, and then the bottom section shows you the widened bridge, which is the bridge that we will construct. So we'll widen it on both sides. And then this slide talks about the work items that can be subcontracted, or that is will possibly be subcontracted. The contractor will speak a lot more about this section, but as you can see, these are typical works that will be subcontracted, such as the erection of the fence, clearing and grubbing, construction of concrete lining and open drains and landscaping, fencing, road signs, and so on and so forth. And then we'll also have community development projects, and the client and the contractor will speak a little bit more about these. I've mentioned that the commencement date is the 14th of March, and we're within the mobilization period now, which is 3 months, which will end on the 14th of June, and then the construction duration, which is 30 months, will begin. The end of the project, or the end of construction, is expected to be on the 14th of December 2027. Right. This slide talks about the local expenditure that the contractor is expected to comply with. He needs to spend about 8% of the contract value on local labor. Right. As I hope you can see my pointer there. And then he needs to spend about 30% on targeted enterprises, that is local companies that tender for work. And then of the local labor, if I go back here, of the local labor, 30% of the 8% must be women, and then 30% of the 8% must be youth, and then 0.5% must be on people with disabilities. By the way, this is the SANRAL policy that the contractor is implementing. And then next, on the targeted enterprises, again, 30% of the contract value will be spent. Of that 30%, 5% must be spent on youth, 5% on women-owned companies, 1% on military veterans, and then 1% on the CIDP 1 or CIDP 2 companies, another 1% on CIDP 3 and CIDP 4 companies. Right. And then this is just specific opportunities that the contractor will create for the locals. Some of them were mentioned, that he's going to train interns for civil engineering, environmental engineering, and quantity surveying, and so on and so forth. The contractor will speak a little bit more about this in his presentation. These are just the anticipated challenges which will come with the project, rain, and so on and so forth. Right, so that's the end of my presentation. So you'll notice some of the things that we've spoken about, the contractor will expand on them when he discusses his CPG in his presentation. I just want to give this opportunity now to the contractor to talk about the CPG.
Sanibonani. Igama lami uNkopano, isibongo sami ngizalwa kwaMnyeki. Sithokoze kakhulu kuba lapha Middleburg nani. Siyabonga kuba ni honorishile le invitation. Ngibuya ka Conco, as the previous speaker has spoken. So kahle iplan bekuthi siyenza le presentation ngezulu ngoba language yala ekhaya, but sekucacile ukuthi we need to stick to English. So niyangivuma? Aningivumi? Sithokoze sizoyihlanganisa. Siyabonga. Niyasibona screen? Okay, ngiyabonga. Okay, so we are the main contractor. We are Conco Construction, and we've been awarded by Sanral contract number N11. The contract number is N11090, so that's section 9, 2016/1. So the description of the contract, it's the improvement of the national Route 11, section 9, between Hendrina Power Station, kilometer 18.5, and the N4 interchange, kilometer 41.7. Siyayazi N11 yethu ne? Then what we will be focusing on today, the table of contents, sine introduction, we've got the introduction, we have the objective, we have the CPG expenditure breakdown, we have the list of work packages for targeted enterprises, we have the market analysis, the expression of interest, the preliminary database. We will also explain the tender process in detail, the tender evaluation, training opportunities as the previous speaker has spoken, and ekugcineni we're going to have questions and answers. So we saw this on the previous presentation. So this is Middleburg as it is, and the green line there you can see that is where the road spans. So we explained that we're starting at kilometer 18.5 and we're ending at kilometer 41.97. I'd just like to show you an example of what is a kilometer marker. Magti kilometer marker, mau driver endleleni, there's blue boards written in white. You will get it on most Sanral roads. Usually angithi when we drive, the road sign, it's looking at you, the driver. Drivers? Yes. So the road sign would be looking at you, but the kilometer marker is a sign on the side of the road looking onto the road. So when you drive on the N11, where you see that kilometer marker written N11, my picture there says N14. That is just an example. So N11, section 9, 20, it is also good to see whether you are on the eastbound or on the right bound. Those that are going to submit tenders will get to understand this further, and they will see how applicable it is in construction, because as part of Sanral's main objective is to make sure that we empower the community and we make sure that we uplift the community. So by learning all these things, what the road is, what each sign means on the road, is part of empowerment which Sanral is committed to. Now, in the introduction, as we've mentioned, the project is located in the province of Mpumalanga, which is where we are now, in the municipality of Ekangala and Silagu Masipala Waga Steve Tshwete. The target area is Steve Tshwete local municipality. So as your target a certain ward or a certain street, but the target area, so everybody who is in Steve Tshwete local municipality is considered a stakeholder in the project, and the project duration is 33 months. So 33 months here to 3 months le yoqala ye mobilization period. So shukuthi kahle kahle selling at 30 months. Nyayithola nyabonga. So as Conco Construction, we are required by Sanral to appoint local targeted enterprises. So we are required to give subcontract opportunities to the targeted enterprises. Now, the purpose of the CPG plan is to outline, so sizonboniso ukuthi how are we going to appoint targeted enterprises, meaning subcontractors, And how are we going to appoint local laborers? So basically, to explain to you ukuthi izohamba kanjani le process. The CPG expenditure breakdown. So the final contract value is 608,652,600 rands. And it excludes the general requirements and provisions, the contractor's general obligations, facilities for the engineer, and quality assurance. And 30% of the final contract value is our CPG target, which comes to 182,595,782 rands. Now, of this, le mali le esikhuluma ngayo le 8 asicela si focus kule 182 million because that is the CPG target. So this is the amount that we as Conco have to use to empower the community. So siyosebenza, and then this is the money le kumele sebenze ngayo. Niyangithola? So 30% of that amount is oyagu targeted youth. So youth is indoda noma umfazi who is below the age of 35, right? And 30% of the amount also will be spent on women. 0.5% will be spent on disabled people. And the other 39.5% will go to men over 35 years of age. So Kona Ubaba, who is the PLC member representing the military veterans, these are the people that we are talking about. Yang Tolane? Thank you. And we will also look at targeted enterprises that are youth-owned, women-owned. 5% of the contract value will be spent on youth, women, military veterans, disabled. Then of the packages that we will have, we will also require CIDB grading 1 and 2, CIDB grading 3 and 4. Then we have the list of work packages that we are going to roll out. So this is a list of amatenda la azophuma ne. But before we discuss amatenda, I just need to mention gune expression of interest that is currently running. It's closing on the 16th of May. Can I just see by the show of hands? Ngicela nje uphakamisa isandla if sewuthumela email ku n11.tenders@conco.co.za. Can I just see by show of hands who are the people that have already submitted? Okay, we have. It is on the Sanral portal. So on the Sanral transmission portal, the advert is there. Okay, so what we'll do, if you have a question, just we note it. At the end of this session, we have questions and answer session. So we will answer all the questions that arise. Fortunately for all of us, the expression of interest is still running. It's only closing on the 16th of May, but it is live. So it being live means that no matter you submit on the 17th, on the 18th, on the 20th, you will still be added. So the closing date doesn't mean that iyavala completely and then asiyo vumela abantu ukuthi ba submit. So you will still be allowed to submit even after the 16th of May. So those that did not get the advert, it's okay. The expression of interest is open for the duration of the project. Net on the 16th of May, we want to see that, okay, we have so many people that submitted, so that we see in Middleburg, how many people do we have and who are the people that are actually looking for opportunities. Naitolane? Nyabong. Okay, Luang I told you it's okay. We'll have questions and answers at the end of the session, and all the questions that you have, we'll try our level best to answer them. So on the screen there you see the packages are listed there, and we are going to require a package. We're going to require an SMME to provide us with public transport. So we have provision of transport. So laba nama minibus, ama quantum, ama taxi, this is an opportunity that you can prepare yourself for. Yangtol, thank you. So we are going to require a cement a supplier that's going to supply us with cement and deliver the very same cement. We're going to require 2 SMMEs on that, and the requirement is that that SMME must be an African youth. So Masiti youth, African youth, it's youth, either male or female. Then we're going to require concrete cabbing. Concrete cabbing is going to go out as a package, and it'll be a 2CE CIDB grading package, and sizodinga 4 tenderers. So la agna requirement ukuthi kumele ube youth or ini, but we will look at the CIDB grading of each company that submits, and we're going to roll out 4 opportunities. And then we're going to have a package for drains. For drains, we are going to require 6 SMMEs. Now, ama drains, ama caps, ama culverts, all those. So we're going to require 6 SMMEs. So 2 of the SMMEs would need to be military veterans. 2 of the SMMEs would need to be black disabled people, African people. And 2 of the SMMEs would need to be 50% of the company must be African owned. So that works out to 6. Naitwala ne? Okay, so for dry services, we will require 1 SMME. For fencing, we will require a 3CE PE CIDB registered company, and we're going to require 2 of them. For fuel supply, we are going to require 1 SMME. We are going to require 1 SMME for gabions. Sorry. Okay, Ukolo, sisasota out to something la. Okay, it's still the same thing. Okay, sorry about that. Skubek. Yabong. So kuzophuma I package ne for ama gabions, and for gabions we are going to require 5 1CE CIDB grading companies. Then we're going to take out guardrails. For guardrails, we are going to require 1 2CEPE registered CIDB registered company. For low beds, supply of low beds and trucks, we are going to require 2 SMMEs. So laba ownama trucks, ama low beds, this is an opportunity that's coming. If your company has constructed guardrails before, I've mentioned that opportunity. So you need to ensure that your company is CIDB grade, is registered with CIDB. For an example, if you are interested in providing a service, yeah, fencing, then you need to make sure now you have the chance to make sure that your company is registered with CIDB and it is at grading 3. Right, then we're going to have prefabricated culverts. Prefabricated culverts is also a 3 CEPE package. Then we're going to have road signs as a 2 CEPE package. We're going to have road marking as a 4 CE or SK package, and for road marking will require 2. For accommodation of traffic, we are going to require 1 SMME. And I just want to dwell a bit on accommodation of traffic, because this is it's a big package and it's critical, because it has to do with the people that are not aware of the project as they come, right? So please, if you are interested in applying for this tender, just ensure that your documentation is right. We will get to the stage where we discuss how the tender needs to look like and what documents you need to prepare. But specifically, if you are interested in traffic accommodation, you really need to pay attention. And then we are also going to have a package for security. For security, nakona sizotata 1 company. Now for security, you need to ensure that your company is SIRA registered, number 1, and your guards are also SIRA registered. Sayazi SIRA ama security companies ne. Thank you. So please ensure that your company is SIRA compliant and you are up to date with your SIRA documents. Then we're going to have the supply and hire of tipper trucks. So we spoke about low beds, so we also have tipper trucks, ne? So you can already see that we've tried to spread the opportunity. So low on ama low beds, uzotoli opportunity yake, na low nama tipper trucks, uzotoli opportunity yake. So it's not going to be like wonke low umuntu uthola ukuthi umuntu nama tipper truck nama low beds and then uthatha yonke into. So we've tried to make sure that we split that. And then nama water trucks now, we're going to have 2 packages for water trucks, and we're going to have a package for the supply of aggregates, 2, and the transport of asphalt, it's 1. So for those that are interested in transport, anything that is vehicle related, whether low bed, taxis, tipper trucks, water trucks, please make sure that your vehicles are registered with traffic authorities. We are not going to accept a tipper truck engana disc. And nama taxi, ama taxi angithi kune disc le ye taxi, then kune disc le ye kunama PDP. So if uzosilethela ama driver, please make sure that all those things are in place, so that when you submit your tender document, it makes the process to be smooth. So now, as we are having this session, it's your opportunity to go and make sure that, okay, if you have a truck, you can see that your truck is due the muchelo, it disc expire. It's now time to go and make sure that you update your documents. Okay, so as we've previously mentioned, we have an expression of interest that is currently running. Expression of interest yethu igu the second tier procurement website ya Sanrale. We have also posted it on the local newspaper, and locations agreed with the PLC. The LED office is also aware of the expression of interest, but you send the expression of interest to us. Our email address is there on the advert, so you make sure that you send the expression of interest to the correct email address, right? And I'm very happy that there's a few companies in the room that have confirmed that they've sent their expression of interest. So it means that the system that we have set in place, iyaqala ukusebenza. I understand others have not seen the advert, so it means the system can still be improved. But getting started, I think we are on the right track. So now the tender process is going to run like this, izohamba. So, advertiser ama subcontract packages. So, njengoba advertisile expression of interest, ama package nawo sizo advertiser. So, mase kufika isikhathi sokuthi sifuna security, sizo keep advert. The same place where you got the expression of interest is the same place where you're going to get your tender advert. So we will always have adverts posted on the Sanral portal. We will always have adverts being distributed by our PLC members. So others have forums, and there's a couple of social media platforms. Angifuna ukusho ngamagama ngoba manje bazothi no ukopano usapota leya social media platform. So I'm not going to mention names, but the community should be aware of nina niyazi ukuthi manifuna ama opportunity niyakuphinda, and then so those the adverts are going to be posted. So the first step will be to advertise. Secondly, we'll conduct a briefing session and a training session. So if sizokhipha package ye fancy, we're going to have a briefing session and we're going to advertise it first, then siyenze briefing session. Then kule briefing session so chaza yonke into ukuthi le package, fencing, the CIDB grading, imesona, and we also become technical in our briefing sessions where we explain ukuthi ama standards la sizowadinga are so many, sizodinga so many posts with steel, and whether or not the fencing is a mesh fence, diamond mesh, or it's a palisade or in. So all those things we explain them very, very in detail go briefing session, and we also explain the specifications. And at the briefing session we will also mention ukuthi itender ivala kuphi, ivala what time, and how to submit. That information will also be in the advert, but sizoyichaza futhi ku briefing session, and the information will also be on your tender document. So we're going to try and make sure that you understand how the Sanral tendering procedures work and you actually practically do them. Then the third thing that is part of the tender process is the submission of the tender document. So masasienzi advert, keep advert, you've seen it, and then you come to the briefing session. All our briefing sessions are compulsory. So it's a requirement of Sanral that if you want to tender for a specific package, you need to attend the briefing session. If you do not attend the briefing session, your submission will be declared non-responsive. So, if you don't come to the briefing session and was submitted tender lako lizoba non-responsive, sizochecka le register ukuthi okay, company X beka ngekho ku briefing session and shukuthi tender lakhe li non-responsive, because if you are not at the briefing session, you don't understand the technical specification of the project, you don't understand how the pricing needs to be done. So angeke ukhona ukuthi uzosubmita itender le ezosebenza. So niya understand ukuthi why siba ne briefing session, ne? So when you submit your tender document, you need to prove that you are BEE registered, and your BEE certificate needs to show the level of contribution of your company. You need to prove that you are an EME or a QSE. Prove that your company is registered with the National Treasury. So your CSD report needs to be part of your submission. Proof of the tenderer's locality and the address registered with CIPC. So your you need to also submit your CIPC certificate. So your CK document must form part of your submission. Then for packages where CIDB is a requirement, you need to submit your CIDB certificate. So for an example, e-security, it's not a CIDB package, but we require SIRA. So we need you to submit your SIRA certificate. Nyayithola ne? So kuzophuma lama package la uthola ukuthi CIDB ayingeni lapho, but you need to submit what is relevant to that package. So for transport, we require all your vehicle certificates and to see your drivers. So all the document needs to be there. So CIDB may be required in some packages it may not be required. Then prove that your company is compliant with the Quota Act. So this is the famous letter of good standing, right? So if your letter of good standing has expired at the time of submission, you still submit the one that you have. Should you become the successful tenderer, then we will give you some time to become compliant. But should you not become compliant, then we move on to the next tenderer. So we'll give time. But you need to show that at least your company is registered with the compensation house, right? So we understand the communities that we are working with, hence letter of good standing, noma ngabe it has expired, your tender will not be disqualified. We will still receive it. Should you become successful, sizokutshela ukuthi okay, sicela ukuthi uyolungisa le document lakho and then ubuye submit. Nayithola ne? Thank you. Then you also need to be tax registered. You need to be registered with SARS and you need to be compliant. So with SARS, if you are in business, you have to be compliant. If you are not compliant, then it's going to be a problem. Your tender might be responsive, but non-responsive, but you need to submit your tax clearance certificate. And if you have challenges with SARS, send us an email and tell us what's going on. Because some people will say, no, I have a problem with SARS. And then say, okay, you have it, send an email, send us documents to show that you are communicating with SARS, because we understand that our country has systems in place, and just because you have a challenge with SARS, that doesn't mean you cannot tender, because submit the tender, submit that you have a tax clearance certificate, but you have challenges, and then those challenges will probably get sorted along the way. But do not stay away from submitting your tender document or participating in the tender processes merely because you've got some challenge or another. Ne? So we really understand what is happening and we understand the communities that we are dealing with. So to counteract that, we give timelines. So we'll give you some time to become compliant or to get your things right. Ne? Then the stage 4 of the tender process is the tender closure and opening of tenders. So this is very important. My vali tender, ivalile. And when it comes to submitting your tender document, you can never be on time. Masitis vali tender ngo 11 o'clock. You can never be on time. It's either you are early or you are late. Because now, just think about it in practical terms. Let's say this is a tender box, and someone comes and submit at 11:59 and 30 seconds. Might 11 o'clock when now jam behind that person. Yakwe tender is on exactly 11 o'clock. Then the third one, so if the tender closing, it will be specified on the advert, it will be specified in the tender document, and we will also clarify it in the briefing session. Now you need to make sure that you submit your tender document before the closing time. So if the tender closes at 11, just make sure you are there at 8 o'clock. You submit your tender document. There's always a tender register submission register at the, on top, we put it on top of the tender box, so at the venue. So you need time to complete the tender submission register. You need time to put your tender document in the tender box so that your tender is not declared non-responsive. So please, you can never be on time. You're either late or you are early. So please be early with submitting your tender documents. And after the submission, after the closing time, so if our tender closes at 11 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we no longer take tenders. The box is closed. Then we'll open the tender box and we'll read out the names of the companies that submitted the tenders, and we'll also read out the tender amounts, right? It's not compulsory to attend the public announcement, but if you have submitted a tender, you want to see how competition looks, so that, because no one submits a tender to not do the work. When we all submit tenders, it's because we are interested in doing the work. So you want to see, okay, these are the companies that I'm competing with, and this is how the pricing is looking, and all of that. Yazwakala ne? Yazwakala? Okay, Togoz. So there's a stage in the tender evaluation that we call the eligibility stage. So as you see on the screen, we need proof that you are registered with CIDB. I've mentioned that. Proof that you are registered with CSD. Proof that you are registered with CIPC. Your BE certificate. And your CSD report needs to tell us whether you are EME or a QSE. If your CSD does not have that information, at least it should be on your triple BE certificate. And then prove that the tenderer falls within one or more of the designated group as per the specification data, if applicable. So for an example, Maskipa E package city, the target group is disabled people, or the target group is military veterans. We need you to give us proof that you are a military veterans. Military veterans have it's a letter that the military office gives them. It's on the military office's letterhead. It has a stamp, it has a date, it has the ID number of the director that is submitting. So if you are a military veteran, all that information needs to be there and it needs to align. So, but we will specify this again in the tender document, so you will know exactly when you submit your tender whether you are the target group or not. Then we will score tenders for functionality. So this is also an important stage. If your tender submission does not achieve a minimum of 75% for functionality, I disqualify your tender immediately. So what's going to happen is that we look, there's 5 categories where we give scores. So we have locality, we have CIDB grading for applicable tenders, we have equipment, we have experience, and we have designated groups. So if you reside within the municipality of Tshwete, there's points that you get for locality. And if the package that we're rolling out requires equipment, you need to give us proof that your company owns that equipment. For an example, if we roll out a package for low beds, the supply of low beds, key equipment, right? So you need to give us that traffic, that letter from the traffic department that shows that your name is and you own a truck. This is the registration of the truck and this is the VIN number. Those that own vehicles will know what I'm talking about. So when we talk equipment, we're talking that. So you need to submit that. If we take out a tender for cabs and there's equipment that is required for laying cabs, so you need to give us proof that you have that equipment. And if you don't submit your proof of that equipment, you will not score points and your company will be declared non-functional, your tender is not functional, and it gets disqualified. So please submit that. Then experience as well. This becomes very critical, especially for traffic accommodation, security companies. You need to submit your proof that you have done work before. It's critical for all the packages. I'm not excluding other packages. So if you've done cabs somewhere and they gave you a certificate of completion or an appointment letter, you need to submit those documents so that you can score points. And if you don't submit the document, then you will not score points and we will say that you don't have experience, because you need to prove that you have 1 year experience, 2 years experience, and so on, right? So please make sure that when you submit your tender, think about the functionality stage that is coming where you need to score points. If your tender doesn't make it to functionality, we don't even look at your price, even if you priced correctly. If you don't score a minimum of 75, as you see on the slides there, then we don't look at your tender. So it's very important that you make sure that in the tender document, all the documents that are required and they have points attached to them, you submit those and then your tender will pass functionality. Then after passing functionality stage, we look at your price. So the price and preference stage, this is where now you get to score points for the price that you submitted. If we are using the mostly we use the 80-20 system. So with the 80-20 system, you'll score 80 for the price, and then for preference, you'll score 20. So for preference, your BE certificate will give you points for preference. So if you're a level 1 contributor, you'll get 20 points. The scorecard for preference points will also be on the tender document. So you need to make sure that you submit your BE certificate so that you can score points for preference. Then when we've done, now you came to the briefing session, you submit the tender document, and your tender has passed all the stages. Now we come to compliance check, where we check that you are registered with QUEDA and you are registered with CIDB and you are tax compliant. So do you see where now your letter of good standing comes to play? So if it's not compliant on tender, the tender will still go through the various stages. Then should you become the successful tenderer, then we will call you in to say, please submit this. So do not submit because you see that your compensation house certificate is not in order and all that. Just put your tender through. Then there's also a process of appointing a successful targeted enterprise. So once we've done the evaluation report gets presented to the PMT, the project management team, and then it gets presented to the PLC. The PLC assists us to confirm that that tenderer resides in the municipality of Tshwete, right? And then after the PLC has endorsed the report, we then finalize the subcontract agreement. Are we all clear on the tender process? If there's a question, and then I know Buti has a question around the expression of interest, so we will get to questions and answers at the end. Okay, so on training opportunities will be made available to targeted enterprises and targeted labor. Training opportunities will be dedicated by the needs of the community. We will have a pre-tender training sessions at the briefing sessions, and there's going to be different methods of trainings depending on how the discussions go with the PLC members. So we are going to train the people of the community But we obviously want to make sure that we give the relevant training. So, and we don't want to train people on the skills that are already available. So we will have discussions and decide on what trainings to give, how to give, so that even after this project, our people can still go to the next project and be profitable in the next project and the next project. That is the bigger picture, that is the whole goal, to make sure that we empower umphakathi, and then it doesn't end here. What happens here needs to set you up for the next project. All right, so we've come to the end of my presentation.
Zambanan. I just want to emphasize something on the expression of interest. I'm just going to flag it. Can everyone see the expression of interest on the screen? It's not shown. Okay. But anyhow, there's just a few things that I want to emphasize. Okay. Number one, the expression of interest is not a tender. It's for interest. So we as the contractor need to build up a database of all the SMMEs or targeted enterprises within the local municipality. So it's going to give us an opportunity to see what skills are available within the local municipality. And then thirdly, even though when you look at the expression of interest, the closing date is on the 16th of May, which is this coming Friday. But we will not close it on the 16th. So even if you still want to submit after the 16th of May, you can still do so, because then we will just take your submission and then add it to our database so that we can, like I said, see what skills are available within the community. And then currently we have advertised the expression of interest on the municipality portal. And as Kopano said, we have advertised it also on the Central Second Tier Procurement website, as well as the local newspaper. And then also the PLC members are in possession of the EOI, or the expression of interest. So if you do need to get access to it, you can also speak to your local PLC member. They should be able to give it to you. As well as once we have the PLOs, we will also give it to the PLOs, so you can also speak to your respective PLOs to get the expression of interest. And then even though we say it's not a tender, but even after we've closed the expression of interest, you will still need to submit an official tender. So like I said at the beginning, it's not an official tender all by itself. It's just for us to build up a database. And even if you have not submitted the expression of interest, you can still tender. So if you did not submit the expression of interest, that does not mean that you won't be able to submit a tender. You still be eligible to submit a tender. That's what I wanted to emphasize. I think we can take the Q&A session, questions and answers right now.
Yeah, thank you, contractor. Esikhathini samanje ke sonke sizoqala kule site la ngapha. Abanemibuzo bangaphakamisa izandla beze ngaphambili. Yeah. Buti Makhoba 1, Sesi 2, Buti Lemuva 3. Now, Buti Koge Merun. Ubaba lapha uMavundla. Baba uZulu nithi baba mina vele ngimazanga baba uMavundla. Principal ngiheza ngaphambili. Sicale kule site la ngapha. Yeah. Ah, yonke umuntu. Principal ungeza ngaphambili. Khona phakamisile le muva. Yeah. Makhopa. Netlaso. Ah, ucala ebantwini. Asilandelaneni kanjalo.
Good morning, leadership. Good morning, and community of Steve Tshwete at large. My name is Millionaire Hilda Mkwevo standing here. My question goes as follows. Oh, this side. Thank you very much. Is the formation of joint ventures or consortiums permissible for subcontracting services provision under this project, particularly for SMMEs seeking to combine capacity and expertise? That's the question. But also from the follow-up question, what is the process for submitting a joint venture proposal? Are there any specific compliance requirements or vetting processes for joint venture? Will both partners in the JVs be evaluated equally, or will lead partner credentials carry more weight? That's my question. I thank you.
Seen opportunities that you have not mentioned along the list of opportunities. And then my other question is in relation to the currently available opportunities. Are you able to categorize in relation to priorities, or in relation to, as you're about to start the work on the 14th of June, are you able to categorize which opportunities are going to be the first opportunities that are going to be coming out, so that the community, the business community, can prepare themselves accordingly? My last question is, I've heard you were mentioning the BEE certificate. Others are using now the BEE affidavit as part of compliance. Do you also accept BEE's affidavit? Thank you.
Sanibonani. My name is Tisho Gamashile. I've got 2 questions. I heard you said you're gonna give us that leverage to do a letter of good standing while the process is on. I just want to ask, even as a CITP, some of us upgraded our CITP grading, but we didn't receive any response so far. Is that catered for? And then, like your tax, some of them, the tax status are not, they are not active. Are you going to give them chance to rectify while the process is being doing? And then my last question is, when coming to fencing, some of us have got double ME when coming to fencing. So, thank you.
Sanibonani nonke mphakathi nabaka Sanral. Mina umbuzo wami ngizobuza ukuthi igama leli SME, iSME iqala ku which age iphelela kumuphi iminyaka futhi ngoba right through nenisibiza nithi SME mara nasenifuna le standard zenu abo grading niqale nithi 3 CE ukuya phezulu manje ngicela ukwazi ukuthi iSME kahle kahle iqala kumuphi unyaka iphelela kumuphi unyaka. And okunye kwesibili futhi ngicela ukubuza ukuthi nami ngoba thina abantu abadala ngithanda sasifuna kusho ukuthi thina salambi asidli ngicela ukuthi sonke abantu abadala nisilayele la applyelwa khona ama veteran yike si applyele ku veteran ngoba right through senikhuluma ngama veteran nani nisitshele na ukuthi ama veteran aqala kumuphi unyaka aphalela kumuphi unyaka ndani nathi sokhona ukusebenza ngoba sekukhulunywa nge SME egcineni niqale nithi 3 CE ukuya phezulu manje thina kanti kusho ukuthi asalamba sadle na hayi khona sesidiniwe manje hawu.
Konko, you can respond, or executive members, you take the side. Okay. The side, hands up. Yeah. Ningeza phambili. Wogqina nanya le emuva uyi1. Akuphakamisa izandla phela. Yeah. Chapedi usesi 3 4 le skip esi black 5 we skip esi white wozani phela hayi moshisi ukhansela sukumani zobuza lo mbuzo enifuna ukuthi ukhansela ubuze. Sara buya phambili uzobuza lo mbuzo lo omele ubuzo cancela angisuppress but are not allowed. After usara ngiyavala. Yeah, asenze njalo ke Mrena.
Yeah. Cela ukuzisa Sanral ukuthi izimiseleni ama main contractor for aphuma la or ku region number 1. Sanral I mean. Funa ukwazi ukuthi kanti yo developer nina ama contractors wala abe ma main. La region ngoba lokho isilethela abantu kusho ukuthi ifuna uqeda zonke lezi ndlela isilethela abantu na. Number 2 melen reinforce le ekhona imisebenzi 14 abala. At least ke man lethi main wase Wheatbank or mayilethela abantu yabona inkinga. Number 2, steering committee criteria esebenzisiwe ukuthi ikhethiwe. Nginenkinga ngoba ngithi ngiyabheka so represent abantu abangana experience and yi done for le. Awukazi uvala ipothole mara maye usirepresent kakheni indlela engaka. Hayi inkinga le ndaba.
Sesi. Awufuna ukubuza kani? Hawu lokubuyela emuva. Kuluma sesi.
Sanbanani, Kamalam Gloria ne. My question goes to all of you guys. What I want to ask, Guti, what about startup companies who never tendered before, but still compliant, and also have proven records in local trading? What I'm trying to say, Guti, laba aba sebenzile, but will never reach projects amakulu. Would you give them a chance to be part of this, or we still wait again when you give people with experience?
Goeiemôre allemaal en alle individuele en alle betrokken organisaties en allemaal ja. My first questions will be addressed to Sandra. Just want a clarity question on, in terms of your database, Sandral's database itself. Sorry, my name is Maverick. In terms of your database, I just want to understand in terms of your database, because I experienced some challenges on it, registering, because the portal is there, but then also you have a database, if I'm not mistaken. So that's my first question in terms of your database. And then the second question also regarding your database, is there a true reflection, or is there specifically information to the people that's on the database of Sandral? Second, the other question that I have was the question, but I think Tshwete covered in terms of the PLO or PLC. I know, Mabel, you indicated that they will only be responsible for vetting part of locality. So in terms of that, I just wanted to get clarity on that. They're not having any effect in terms of electing, but only vetting. Then my following questions is now addressed to Congo. In terms of applying on your EOI, okay, I know you stated that you will build up your system in terms of that everybody is getting the information. So I know you will build up on that, but now the question is, as I saw your presentation, there's a lot of opportunities. So when you supply or apply for on the EOI, should you indicate for every opportunity in one email, or should you put in your subject title in terms of, listen, I'm applying, then it will be easier for you guys. So there's just a suggestion in terms of on the EOI subject title, or do you apply and state in the email, I'm applying for all these opportunities, because you'll never know which one you will be successful. Then another question is, and I think I just want clarity on it, the proof of ownership of equipment. So in terms of that, will that be now a disqualifying factor in terms of, as you mentioned, non-responsive? Because a lot of us, in terms of that, might not own the equipment, but have access to the equipment. So in terms of that, can we provide any proof or letter from whoever owns the equipment? Then very close one is the training, in terms of, you guys are saying you're gonna provide training. So in terms of your training, will that be MQA level or what? Because we're still waiting on Sandral to issue our training certificates in terms of MQA. And then, yeah, I think that will be me today. Thank you.
Sanmanani, Kamala Monsara. I think Maverick mentioned regarding plant. Regarding a plant, if like I have access to a owner of the plant, and then I have access to supply it, so then how do we siphuma kanjani kuleyo? So then, yeah, singavaleli ngaphandle. Thank you.
Sanibonani. Njani? Igama lami uVictor ne. Mina ngifuna ukubuza le supply ngediesel. Because into engibona isikhathini esiningi idiesel isector yakhona still untouched. Mina ngiyasupply in a small scale. But uthola ukuthi ama projects akhona bathe abantu bakhona supply le diesel nge-account. For example, bathi sifuna 5,000 liters per day ukuthela emshinini. And the low mile my check is about 222,000, but it will pay you after 30 days. And Motia beg and then our requirements are corner still as a favor. Lababa Namatipa Makuru, Lababa advance. Guess you are Futi Abbas Klupi no good bezela because they know Guti we won't meet the criteria Leni Begil. Already Tini system is kicker out. So Minanjeng I'm sewing supply diesel. Busing developing fake losing as well as in his for now. Which in Amin Konungana business because it's a petty labumbala. No much ungana go put you a fuyangana la pabachi no Tina's 420 liters and then we'll pay you after 80 days. That's about 2,500,000 it had up. So I'm always left out. So food was with Nina, Jeng and Sandra. You see the range and China's slow industry boss. Abantabam Yamabaning a Beko industry. Umbuzwamulap.
Sanbonani Bashar. Inoko amkwena from here the farm, emaplazini. Ngisathanda ukubuza stick umbuzo wami ngubhiza kuphi abaphathi bakhona bayezwa lo ocondene naye kumele uphendule. Okokucala abaphathi sibuya emaplazini amaplasini yazi ukuthi anikezwa incindezi ecaleni. Izinto lezi sizenzayo manje sizenza ngokupatanisa ngokuhlanganisa. Ezinye sizibamba endleleni. Manje nesenizokhulumisa ama experience la enwafunayo. And thina siphuma emaplazini. Lento le ngathina still isasifisela emaplazini, isasifisela ngaphasi kwencindezi. Nithi niya developer manje ni developer ama company. Walaba basafuna ukuthi this nabo bangene ngaphakathi kwali field. Mara ngendlela enenza ngakho angiboni ukudevelopa kwenu. Lencwadi enizifunako zonke zi too expensive. Zonke enizifuna zi too expensive. Kuthi lento eniyenzako manje ninikeza laba bantu laba bama business ukuthi baye phambili. Rich to the richest, poor and to the poorest. Besicela ukuthi nathi ake nisifake kuleni kule advert. Bengicela ke nisifake, ke nisicabangele kancane nathi ke nisifake. I-employment nayo nifake ngaphakathi emaplasini sokuhamba njani. Nisifake ngothi manje siyabona i-steering committee lesenisifakile. Asisazi okokucala. Thina sazi njengesisibuye emaplasini siyoya kuphi. Siyababona la abanye bafaka bakhona la kulama hoti abanye ba ilungu zabo ibongo zabo sibhalwe ngesilungu as understand ukuthi siyomthola kuphi loyo manje besicela hayithi siya criticize or senzani besicela ukuthi nathi la ake nisifakeni sibonge
Sanbonani ome phambi kwenu uMpumalanga Masemula from SM Logistics Services. Bengisathanda ukulochisa ngasebukhosini ngithi bayede. Chair, I think engifuna ukuraise kancane sebakuthashile i-issue equipment. I specialize kuma low bed, but anginayo i-low bed because i-low bed will cost you close to 2 million. You can't expect thina abantu abamnyama sibe nama low bed. Ama low bed anabelungu. Nya specialize kuma low bed, I deliver imshini mine, but anginayo i-low bed. Render ama low bed, which rending it's best kwamanje masiza ku business because nama company amakhulu saya renta abo SG Coal seba renta nemshini ama trucks our own. So please, can you please, in terms of equipment, we don't have to provide the ownership, but we can provide ama reference which we do deliver in terms of monitor services yethu. Another concern, concern a PLC chair. Let's say ku PLC kunabantu abayi2 ebangazwani noma semula. Ama chances wami ukuthi ngithola umsebenzi abangakanani because bengihlele eduze nomunye umama lapha ukhulume kabuhlungu wathi yazi sisazi ukuthi umsebenzi bayonikeza ubani novani. So how can we make it ukuthi imsebenzi kungabe obvious ukuthi uma semula makangeni la ipart and parcel ePLC uyothatha ubani novani? How can we make it ukuthi at least change lento ukuthi kungabe ukuthi sesiyazi ukuthi obvious ucomrade so and so uyothola umsebenzi? Angazi ukuthi singayisebenza kanjani. At least sibona abantu abasha. We are not saying nithathe thina, but we need to see ama faces amasha kulama business opportunity. Thank you.
Sanibonani nonke. Ngiyanibingelela nonke. Okhulumayo Isaac hlala khona la eMiddleburg eMhluzi eDoornkop. So into engilethela namhla engifuna ukuyazi uSanral. Sanral 2023 bas trainer basisa kuma training, but solo namanje izertificate zethu azange sizithole. Elasicala ukuza la ku meeting sizokhala ngalento. Ngize kanenge la enkangala kwelinye office lapha. Certificate esazithola ilabo ba trainer after thina sesitrainile. So sifuna ukwazi ukuthi uma basazotraina abanye thina ke certificate sizithola nini esa trainer 2023. So besicela ukuthi namhla siphenduleke lapho lo mhlawumbe ukhona umuntu esizoya kuye akwazi ukusisiza. Ngicabanga engikubuzayo wonke umuntu clear kuko enabanye futhi engatraina nabo 2023 at extension 24 sasilapho ke ngalo mnyaka namanje solo sinazo certificate ene kumanje iSanral ikhipha ama job opportunities. So sebenza kanjani thina singenazo le certificate, which means asikwazi ukwenza ama quotations lawo. Bese enye into, point number 2, besicela ukuthi nomphathi wethu ubaba umhlonishwa umeya ukhona thina esina 36 years ukuye phezulu. Besicela ukuthi nayo ugovernment noma umasipala asicabangele ukuthi nathi siyaphila sasenemizi sinemizi ene asikwazi ukuthi singaba support abantwana bethu. Besicela lapho kakhulu. Siyabonga.
Sambonani. Malukumnis lo khulumayo from emaplazini eFabantu. So i-question yami namhla ngibhekise kuSanral neSteve Tshwete due to ukuthi ekhaya mina kufanele ukuthi ngila sekhaya then lapho exit i-N11. So that means I'm one of the people who are affected hayo masiza kune project le. So into engifuna ukuyibuza ukuthi if kuzoba nama business opportunities nemsebenzi, since thina siphuma sibantu basemaplazini and ngezinto eziningi sivalelekile, so into engifuna ukuyazi ukuthi njengoba thina si close enough kune project lezi bayenzeka as abantu basemaplazini sithola na opportunity njengoba ngizuma lapha athi the project le is for everyone. That means ifaka wonke umuntu wo Steve Tshwete. So mayifaka wonke umuntu wo Steve Tshwete, remember there are words and words, different communities. So mina yongibenefita kanjani iSanral njengoba izoyenza project next to my home where I was born, emaplazini. So ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi yongibenefita kanjani and umphakathi wami nawo yobenefiteka kanjani, because dala siwabona ama company angena aphuma semiz mining bayangena ba miner but still basekela singana next emaplazini. Mina ngakhula la ngikhulela khona kuna park umjinga ngwazi. So Steve Tshwete niyasibona emaplazini noma nisibona are we part yenu la eMpumalanga onjani, because the way ngibona khona abantu basemaplazini sasalele emuva actually. So bengicela ukuthi iSanral neSteve Tshwete ithatha abantu basemaplazini la ngoba nendlela la idlulela khona amaplaza wonke akunalokishi. Lokishi licala kuphi from ebridging lephezulu ku N4 until Henrina. Henrina, the way believe ngakhona, I know we have to share, but the way believe ngakhona Henrina yavule indlela ngale thina bangapha emaplazini we didn't even get a piece of that pie. So right now this thing yenzeka kuphi where we are staying, where we were born. So sayicala leyo piece pie this time. Please make sure.
Sanibonani. Igama lami nginguThemba ngibuya eWard 6 eRockdale. I-question yami engizoyibuza ngiyibhekise lapha kuSanral. Ngisacela ukubuza ukuthi uSanral makakwakha izindlela constructor kwe-develop izindlela, i-impact eyenzakalayo kwimphakathi le asebenzele eduze kwayo uyayithatha na i-responsibility yayo. Lokho ngikubuza phezu kwe-question ukuthi lapha eRockdale ekhoneni la N11 and N4 uSanral wakhe indlela lapho wachanela amanzi ukuthi aye ezindlini lapha kunama new stand lapho kwakhiwe kunemize yakhiwe. Amanzi lapho lawa awachanelile aya straight emizini yabantu and akhoza any distraction lapha ya. Izindlu zabantu zibolile lapha yana and ngicela ukuthi ngifake i-challenge kuyena ukuthi ngicela ukuthi akake eze azokhuluma ngento ayibonayo ayibone ukuthi lento le i-impact eyenzakala makaqeda ukudevelop indawo nokuthi yipi responsibility ayithathayo makwenzakala kanjalo. Siyabonga.
Sanibonani. Igama lami uFranci. Equation actually sanibonani Sanral Konko and everyone. So equation enginayo it will be based to iKonko. As I was sitting there mover, I was listening to everyone who was asking questions here. What I've noticed is everyone is more interested in the construction side of the project. And Ektalenu Usesi, when he was introducing, he said to us, there's a company called KPC, which is the consultant of this project, if I'm not mistaken. So, umbuzo wam is, how is KPC, or actually, let me rather put it this way, is KPC able to assist us as young entrepreneurs, more especially like me, I went from the construction site. I've started doing my own consultation firm. Currently, I've already enrolled for AMA ISO compliance. Is it possible for EKPC to at least try and help us, or help me rather, so that I can be involved? Because it's a new space that I'm trying to venture in, but I've noticed no one, mostly actual people are sleeping in that space. And then my second question is, I've heard, I think it was the presentation by Sandral, if I'm not mistaken, when they were talking about the PLC. Firstly, the youth side, I heard you guys said that the person who's going to be representing youth as Steve Tshwete is based in Hendrina, right? We all know that Hendrina falls under Steve Tshwete, but the majority of Steve Tshwete is this side, Middleburg and Mhluzi. So I don't know if it's possible for leadership to reconsider and at least add one member, so that we as the young people can go and seek for help at Duze, because there's no way we'll be able to go and drive to Hendrina while the economy is like this. And secondly, on EPLC 40, what I've seen is the person who's representing Abu Mama is also based in Hendrina. So now, labo mama laba abagcwele lana, which is, I'm sure, a majority yakhona bala eMhluzi and Middleburg. How are we going to deal with that? Because there's no way ukuthi abantu besifazane, you know, I'm happy to see there's women in the management and stuff, but we all know that Tina Majid, I'm a guy, by the way. Amajid ayadlisana, uyabo? So we must try and fix that part. Thank you.
Yeah, siyabonga imbuzo emphakathi. UKhonko anga respond.
Okay, thank you for the questions. We will try and answer them to the best of our ability. The first question was that how are we going to accommodate companies that are SK registered with CIDB, particularly for fencing work? So the answer to this is that as and when we roll out tenders, the CIDB grading will be specified. But now for road markings, we actually did accommodate 4 CE companies and or 4 SK companies. So if you are a company and you are registered with CIDB and you want to tender for this specific package, if your le registration yako ya SK, then you can tender. Can we move on to the next question? Thank you. The second question was do we allow for the formation of joint ventures? And the answer is yes. So if you want to go into a joint venture, you can go into a joint venture, meaning that you'll be 2 companies tendering as one. You can submit your expression of interest as a joint venture. If you have a tender that you want to submit as a joint venture, you can do that. Just make sure that when you submit a joint venture, a tender, a joint venture, both directors need to sign the joint venture agreement. So the joint venture agreement is the most important part of the tender document, and the BEE certificates as well. They must, for both companies, be in the tender document. So there will be more details on the tender document about joint ventures. So if you want to tender as a joint venture, please do so. I'm not sure if I missed anything. I know with CIDB, just as a guide, if you have a 4 CE company and a 1 CE company going in a joint venture, there is a calculation that CIDB does, and you need to do that as both members of the joint venture. It's going to give a different, it's not going to be now a 4 CE anymore, because 1 and 1 cannot make 4, right? So you just need to do the calculation on the CIDB portal so that you see what CIDB grading is the joint venture coming to. So you can have a joint venture of a company that is 6 CE and a company that is 9 CE. Both of them combined, they create a new CE or SK or ME or GB or any CIDB category that you are registered with. So you actually need to go onto the website and see what does that JV come to, what CIDB grading does it come to before you submit your tender. Because if you submit as a 1 CE and a 1 CE for a 4 CE package, so you just need to do the exercise yourselves and make sure that you do the right submission. The next question was, will Conco create another communications platform for the locals? And we already have an email that we've created. The email that is being used for the expression of interest, that is the email that is going to work for the duration of the project. So it is already there, and there is local community structures which Conco is not part of and is not responsible for. So those structures are there, they are in place. So you just need to familiarize yourself with, seek advice from your PLC members and the PLO, which we will have later in the project. But the N11 email that we have is very active, it works, and it's created specifically for this project. So I believe this question is answered, that we have set up that communications platform.
I just want to go back to the question of JV. In addition to the documents that Kopano spoke about, we will also need a consolidated BBE verification certificate in the name of the JV. So it will be the consolidated BBE verification certificate. We will also need a valid BBE verification certificate for each member of the JV. So I just wanted to add to that, Kopano. Thanks.
So a BBE certificate must be consolidated, A1 for the JV, right? Then the fourth question was, will we accept unsolicited bids? This question was not so clear, but we noted it, and we really want to make sure that it is answered. So lo baba lo bekabuza lo mbuzo azange atsho igama lakhe ukuthi ngubani, so azange ngabhala. So angazi ukhona abuze futhi ukuthi le question le beyithini. Yes sir.
Yabo. Yeah, ama proposals lawa angekho listed as part of the opportunities that you've listed there. Do you accept ama proposals anjalo? Mhlambe kunemshini that we believe you might need, and then Tina sifake ama proposals ati, can we supply you with this machine even though it's not on the list of the opportunities? That's an unsolicited bid. Yabo.
All right, thank you for the question. All the bids that are going to be required will go out on tender. So what we currently have on the expression of interest is what we have planned to roll out. So if you pick up an opportunity and it is not on the list of what we want to roll out, we may not accept such, unfortunately. So the the scope of work is done and everything is done. So everything will go out on tender, or we will request RFQs. But we will actually have a process where, because if you pick up an opportunity, asicabangeni ne, pick up the opportunity esporo, omunye umuntu akayipick up, and then simvumele ukuthi submit tender. Yabona ukuthi inokuthi ayisimnandi ngoba manje submit ayi-one ngoba uyibona ayi-one and vele uyi-one uyifuna ayi-one, so we are not going to accept that. So when we see that there's an opportunity for an SMME, we will take out a tender or we will take out requests for quotations, and umphakathi wonke will be given an opportunity to tender for that, give prices, and then we evaluate. Thank you. And the next question was, do we categorize opportunities? Yes. So as we've taken out the expression of interest, we have categorized our opportunities. So we have an opportunity for security. It's a category on its own. We have an opportunity for fencing. It's a category on its own. And the list goes on and on. I believe the question is answered. The next question was, will we accept triple BEE affidavits? Are they acceptable? And the answer is yes. The second question was pending CIDB upgrades. So this is a company that is maybe at 4 CEPE and they have submitted for 6 CE and upgrade, and they want to tender for a 6 CE package. Will we?
So you can submit a tender, right? If you haven't gotten, if you haven't yet gotten your CIDB in a required category, but you'll be given about 5 days to get that required CIDB category. If you don't get it, then your tender cannot be considered. It will be considered to be not eligible.
Thank you. I hope that question is answered. So you can submit, but CIDB needs to respond, and once they've responded, you need to submit the upgraded, you need to show us that you have actually upgraded. And the other question was, do we accept ME CIDB grading contractors? And this is a civil engineering contract. ME is mechanical works. So we don't have HVAC. So unfortunately not, but should an opportunity arise, then we'll most probably roll it out. Because ME, the only thing that comes to my mind right now is these extractor fans and air cons, and we don't have that on the road. So this is a civil engineering contract. So the answer is no for now, but should there be an opportunity, then we will roll it out. Then we have the age of, what should the age of an SMME be? That was the question. So, above 18? Anyone who's above 18 years old can open a company. So noma ngabe una 65 or 64, 70, 80, all the way, you can open a company and you are an SMME once you have a company open.
All right, so as we presented, there is 30% of the budget is allocated to SMMEs or targeted enterprises. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you can tender within that 30%, so it's quite open. There was another gentleman who mentioned that they are over 36, but they still need to take care of their households. And that concern has been addressed already because he's not discriminated from tendering. He can work as a laborer, he can tender, he can do whatever.
Thank you. I believe that question is answered, so thank you for the question. And the other question was, how do we accommodate the elderly? I think this question goes hand in hand with the age of the SMME. All three were asked by one gentleman. So, abantu labadala, if umuntu omdala and uyakhona ukusebenza, kuzoba nama opportunity for local laborers. So you will be able to participate in the project. So just because we said that we are going to look at youth, it doesn't mean that abantu abadala sibakhiphela ngaphandle. No. As long as you reside within the boundaries of Tshwete, the local municipality, then you can participate on the project. And the next question was, when is Central going to empower the SMMEs? Okay. All right, noted. Thank you, ma'am. So the other question was, what about the SMMEs who do not have experience and only did training, like they traded locally? So if you've done, for an example, paving locally, and you've done, you do garden services, I'm just mentioning things that are coming at the top of my head. So you can tender, you can submit a tender, and you will submit. Remember, experience is not the only thing that we look at. We look at locality, we look at experience, and we've got designated groups. So if you submit a tender and you've only done work locally, you don't actually have you haven't done work that gives you a completion certificate. In the tender document, there is a schedule of experience that you can actually complete and write down contactable references. Then we will look at that. So you can submit a tender. The next question was for Sandra, so we've got 2 questions for Sis Melba. The third question as well, and then we have, the gentleman asked if the PLO and the PLC have an influence in terms of selecting the tender, and the answer is no, they do not have influence. Only at the end they will verify the locality of the tenderer. So if a tenderer submitted a CK certificate and they submitted the proof of address, then the PLC needs to endorse that, okay, we know this tenderer, we know this address. Thank you. Then the other question was about, okay, how do we specify, is there a need to specify opportunities that you are applying for? So this was, I understood it as, must you specify when replying to the expression of interest? It would be beneficial from an administration point of view if you do that. So if you submit your email and you say, I'm interested in fuel supply, I'm interested in laying cabs, I'm interested in this, it will really benefit the process if you do that. The next question was, what if an SMME does not own the equipment, but they can source it? You can submit your tender. The only thing is that we also look at your price, and when you submit your tender, you need to give us a letter of intent from where you are going to hire the equipment, and you also need to indicate, so on plant in the tender document, there is a schedule of plant and equipment. And on that schedule, you have to indicate whether that equipment is owned or it will be hired. So you have to tell us that then you can submit your tender, as long as you can back up that should you be the successful tenderer for that package, you will be able to acquire that plant. The other question was about NQF training, if the training that we are going to provide is going to be NQF accredited. So the answer is yes. I can't remember who asked the question, but I believe they are answered. So yes, the training that we provide is going to be, there's going to be NQF levels, different NQF levels training on the project. The next question was, how do we accommodate small diesel suppliers? And the gentleman went on to further elaborate it to say there's big suppliers who have capacity to supply, but then there are also small enterprises within the municipality, and they also want to participate and supply us with diesel. So from what I understood, this becomes an issue of cash flow, to say they probably don't have enough capital to supply the liters that may be required. I can try and give my comments on the question, but I will give my colleagues as well to answer. So I think you can submit your tender for diesel, and we'll look at it. So be confident to compete with these big guys. It's not a problem. So submit your tender and we'll look at it. But do not submit because you think that another company is big and you are small, and no, that doesn't work.
Yeah, in addition, it actually goes back to the question of the JV. When it comes to diesel supply, we heavily encourage local suppliers to form JVs with bigger suppliers. So that will also basically, the big companies will be there to uplift the local SMMEs. So we also do encourage SMMEs as well. Yeah. I think
Sanborn, I think things like diesel supply, crushing and blasting, as well as asphalt and the transportation of asphalt, because these are big packages, we've thought about them, Yane. So what we can only say is that in the expression of interest, when show your interest. And I think when it comes to the fuel, if you've got a wholesale license, and I'm assuming who's the gentleman who's more interested and concerned about this has a wholesale license, then if he comes through a tender stage, we can encourage, and we are looking at partnerships internally, Yane. But I mean, that is purely being driven by an external heavyweight, also being interested in uplifting the local partner. So I just hope we are clear on that, Yane. And I think maybe the other thing which I want to be clear on, and I know my sister has already expressed this, is that startups, even with zero experience, you can go to the CIDP, you will be given a CIDP level 1. The cap on a CIDP level 1 is 500,500,000. On the scorecard, it might compromise you, but as part of the scoring criteria, there is also a requirement of experience. So you can be a startup, and then you can invite a Mabandla or a Skosana who has maybe 10 years or 5 years experience in laying stormwater pipes, in doing cabs, in doing stone pitching or fencing, and that can so easily put you in a competitive position. Yeah. And before I hand over the mic, emphasis, expression of interest, please. There is no deadline. We do mention the 16th, submit. Even if you do not have any documents, even if you only have one document, there is really no limit here. Some of these packages on when they will be rolled out will be communicated to the PLC. You know, some of them are coming out at the end of the year and some of them possibly in 2026. We would like to think that when that period comes, that particular individual will have the necessary documents here. So everybody is encouraged. And I think, Sandra, the one thing I really maybe want to mention is that it's good for us as the contractor, it's good for Sandra, it's good for the community if the business and the opportunities are limited here. You know, there is no going to Joburg, there is no going to Nelspruit. It always works well when we optimize the local participation. Most of us know, most of you know us. We're doing the N11 from, actually from the N4 from the N11 interchange all the way to Arnott, the Nelspruit bound carriageway. So we've worked with, is it Middleburg? With Middleburg, and I would like to think that there was no chaos and there was a lot of collaboration and maybe partnership there. And I think though, even in Belfast, which is maybe another 30, 40 kilometers there, in the last 4, 5, 6 years, we've built an Exaro mine there, and I can tell you that we did maximize local participation. In fact, a criteria there was the contractor was expected to submit an SDNL guarantee of 2.5%, so that if the local spend criteria was not met, then the employer could call that guarantee and punish the contractor. And I can tell you, and the evidence is there, that within 8 months, not even a year, on a 3-year contract, that SDNL guarantee was returned to us because the commitment from Concord, the contractor, was there. So I can, the sky is the limit, you understand? You know, I'm not going to hire somebody from Joburg, because just from the transport alone, from going through the road, the toll gates to come here and work here, it's just expensive. So bakwethu asingesabi ne, singadinwa, okay? Sonke sifuna kuyofika lapha, kungenteka kube sisebenzisa izindlela lezehlukene, but sonke siyalapha ne. And I think tinfo ngalesinye isikhathi timoswa ngumlomo njengoba idolo timoswe ngumlomo. And I would like to think in the next couple of weeks, Mr. KBK, Mr. Mayor, Sandra, you know, we are all in agreement, and the contractor is able to start. And because, I mean, if the contractor cannot start, the only losers is the community and the municipality. Okay, forgive me for diversing, but I just felt that it was necessary for me to highlight those things.
All right, thank you. So diesel suppliers, ne, you had that, have the confidence and submit your tender. The next question was, how do we accommodate abantu basemaplazini? Okay, so Sis Melba will answer this one for us. The next question was also about plant, so you can submit a letter of intent. There was also a question about how the PLC influences the selection of SMMEs, the tender process, and I've answered that it's no. The next question would be for Sis Melba. The question 27, we answered it. The elderly people will be accommodated. Okay, the next question was about KBK assisting consulting firms. Yes, the the last gentleman that asked the question was asking if we have opportunities for local consulting companies. Okay, we'll look into that. Then there was also a request for a Middleburg Youth PLC member and a Middleburg Women PLC member representative. Those are all the questions, ne? Thank you.
Okay, so the question is whether KBK will mentor consulting firms. I think that's what I picked up from the question. We are not avert to helping consulting firms. It's not part of the project, right? So we don't have any special program to mentor consulting firms. The mentorship that has been arranged as part of the project is the trainer for the SMMEs or targeted enterprises, and mentorship for them and so on. So there's a lot of mentorship that's going to happen as part of that arrangement. So we don't have anything specific planned as KBK. But if anybody has a question of how to start a consulting company or what documentation they need to get, you're welcome to always approach our office. We'll deal with that case, because I don't think there's many people with that same question. But if anyone has that question, you're welcome to talk to us.
All right, thank you. Ms. Melba.
Nkosi yami. Mangiqale ngixolise. The issue ye Tsheka and the training that happened, and I know my colleague is not here. Let me take full responsibility for this. I will come back to you, but I know that the contract that we have with them has come to an end. Yeah, because I remember that this question was raised last time we were here. Mangolis. There's ubhuti okhulume ngamanzi angena ezindlini. Ayike lapha ngixolisa. Umgaqo bingengowethu sithandwa sami. That portion of the road was not a Sanral road. It has only been handed over to us in November last year as part of the 52 kilometers I was telling you about. So we are not the cause of your pain, but we are looking forward into resolving it. And I remember, Executive Mayor, you did take us there the last time we were here. That road was not part of Sanral. It has only been given now to us, so we will look at it and try to fix. Wabane question, kono potobuze question ye contractor development. We were here last year. There's a lot of things that Sanral is trying to push to support upcoming contractors. That has also been finalized by Sanral. We are busy with the policy, because everything that we do, we are governed by policies, and it's something that we are going to do as Sanral, because we've realized that especially contractors from grade 5 to grade 9, they are struggling a lot. You find a company is a grade 9, but cannot do what Concord is here to do. So we will try to assist there. And also, there was a question as to say, if our experience, our luto, how do you participate on our projects? If benilalele kahle, kweza packages busy payana bakhono grade 1.
Grade 1 and about I will borrow, we will give you that opportunity. And within this project, there will be a mentor. So we are not here to sideline anyone, but make sure that your documentation is in order. And in this case, it's just compliance. If you comply, then you can participate. Asikhathali ukuthi uhlala kuphi. As long as you reside in this Steve Tshwete local municipality, you've got an opportunity to participate. Ukuthi uhlale farmer elokishini kuma suburb akhulumi lokho. Even our forms we don't ask you ukuthi wena uphuma farmer or kanjani. So participation is open for everyone. Bakithi inkinga yenu anilaleli nina abanye benu. Uyayibona le ndaba nicimba fanele tobana a PLC member has an upper hand. Nide nibathengele nama cold drinks. Animaneli nina. Abana power to appoint laba bantu. Ndiyanicela maniziyekeni ezi zinto nizenzayo. Because ngoku kubana ku collect oma 10,000, 20,000 for sweet nothing. You are a business person. Please be smart and listen to what I say as Central employee. Abana power. Please don't be fooled by them. Senkhathele. Why PLC member is afuna uzokuropa isonga sabantwana bakho and you allow that? How many times have you been saying ukuthi laba bantu abana power to appoint you? Hayike manje sekufike lapho ngiphelelwa ngumoya khona because ndinayo icase enjalo la ekhaya. And when they do try, get me the evidence. Sizawuba bamba bazawubotshwa. Asidlali. No, guys. The only thing that they do is the verification of locality. Ukuthi wena uqashiwe main contractor. PLC member has got nothing to do with it. Seyiphenduliwe indawo yama joint ventures. Manelani ke nithethe inyani kuni. Hamboyilanda la company ufuna ukwenza I joint venture nayo lapha ya eGauteng, your scoring will be 0. No locality shall be given to you. Ninjalo mosnina. Niqede nikhale. Besisenza imigaqo la next door eBelfast. Kwa ezi plant nithetha ngazo. Nihambe nozilanda eGauteng, niqede nifuna utoyitoyela main contractor and complain about the rates. Yeah, understand that it's a space that you want to be in, but as a business person, negotiate and negotiate accordingly. And make sure that it's going to make a business sense. Kuwe. If it doesn't make a business sense, Butwam and Siswam, don't do it. Kona obebuze gama database, Central database. As the agency, we appoint contractors. So there are so many databases. Database ukhonko. They're gonna work, they're gonna build that database for this particular project. There's no point in Dobana Ubeki Central database for what? We don't issue the work, Tina. The only people that we appoint is the main contractors. Nalapo, sisebenzisa newspapers, tender bulletin all over the country. So it's not database yabo. Cannot say good database is Central is no Congo. No. They are big businesses. When we advertise opportunities, they must grab them and apply for them. So as a database, it is per project. Says one about it. Okay, the priority has been answered. Yeah, Linda Bayakutabanabana 36 going up. Guys, my opportunities are corner, but I feel in Dobana executive mayor. Mhlambi siyashesha masikhuluma okanye kwenzeka ntoni because isishilo sathi nizoparticipate and there's 30% participation on that. And another thing esizawuyenza kwi-site yethu singu-Sanral sizawaxhoma lama packages. Nithi ntoni database yenu? Kwi-portal kamasipala sizawaxhoma lama packages so that niwabukisise kahle. Siyazwana? If ayifilishanga i-attendance register, please fill it up. Because some of the information sizayithumela laphayana. PLC, they are not the only channel. Siyazwana? So nizayifumana because yes, when we present, utusa analyze sigqithe sekwesinye slide, but we'll make sure that you get it, and then sizayitype la database yenu sithumele. Nifumane le information is very important. Now uzobona lama packages abesithini because I'm sure abanye benu sewekhohliwe. Maningi phela. I think I-55 ininzi gqitha lo list. I'm just looking at the Yabana ubhuti ukhulumile wathi umgaqo udlula netso ekhaya. Qinisile bhuti wami. But umgaqo ngokaSanral akangomkamasipala. It's a national road. You are so lucky to be next to it. Ayabanye bethu kaloku sikhe sibetho gravel mfondini siwela imilambo sileqa khona lo national road. But unfortunately bhuti wami ngizakhuluma iqiniso. Iqiniso size ngalo apha le project size nayo for all the stakeholders of Steve Tshwete to participate. Asinayo i-prioritization of a ward, of a community, by the virtue that you are closer to the road. Liqiniso elo. Because andifuni niphume nicabanga ukuthi ikhona into especial for a particular community. Sakwenzela umzekelo mina sesiyambile saya kwi-community sathola ukuthi sicela umhlaba, especially to the traditional leaders. Siyawucela ezi-hectares lo mhlaba no-administer ka-rural development. The only thing esizayibala thina sifike sibala i-hectares sinikeze sinxephezelo se-hectares zenu mase si-implement i-project ngeyomuntu wonke. There is no speciality, unfortunately. But it is fortunate ngoba today is you, tomorrow is going to be somebody else. And I'm saying this even to the 52 kilometers that we have just received from Lomaspala. Butamanza baleka yongena endlini, we are hoping to fix that, but being a create one as it sufumeni zolo tenumgaqo. But it doesn't mean that when we go to fix and then only the people within that ward or that street will benefit in our projects. We don't operate like that. I do not want amanga. Do you understand? And the bonile ne frustration ya izolo. Thinking into bana, hey, we were supposed to. No, guys. It's a national road. And ngendawo ku municipality road okanye ku public works. In national road as a targeted enterprise. Everyone within the municipality gets equal share. So even kwezi 29 wards ninazo zininzi futhi, we are going to go siyogoqoza siyofuduwa, especially for general workers. But kukho into endifuna ukuyicacisa ke though. It's not a speciality. If ndifuna ucontract ngiyabekisa uthi une contract ye about a month, yebon, for a general work. Asuzude sihambe sothatha kude executive mayor ngoba lokufuna sibale the number of days nemali transport and everything else. You understand? But andithi imisebenzi ngiyala ward. Never. We don't do wardism. Misebenzi ngiyabahlali base Steve Tshwete. There will be a database after senze ufuduwa for general workers. Ngoba sicela experience, sicela amandla akho as long as you fit. Sizawuthi make sure how many local jobs do we want? Iwards zingaphi? Sesithathile phaya, ndicela ube ne patience ke. Ngoba na ikhona la moya uvese ube shushu ungawazi busukaphi. Asikwazi uqasha at the same time all of you. This is a project. It goes with phases. Siyazwana? So if you say ward 25 and sesiqashile ward 26 and wazibaneka sukuthi hayibo sifika nini kanti thina kule ward. So inenza kwenzeka masithi 29 multiplied by 2, that's 58. That's the first batch that we need to take care of in terms of local labor. Siyazwana? Izobapha and nani nizawuyazi and futhi naxa kuyofuduwa nizawuyazi ba bekuthathwe umayisela nonkosi nizawuyazi moslondo ayizufihlwa kuni izabe isenziwa futhi in front of you. I'm trying to check ukuthi nginiphendule yonke na imibuzo yenu. So bhuti wami ndiyaxolisa nansi into endifuna uyicacisa. Sishiyani singisandral. Aba baqashiwe and la mali yabiphuma eNational Treasury. Yayiva ke? Thethela usandral ke uma. Sishiyani singisandral. Niphinde ninimamele kahle because andifuna ulwa nani ngoSeptember xa ndibuyele iRRM. Ngoba xa ndize neRRM angishiyi lutho. Siyezwana? Niyabe nibuza bana usisimela ke ngoku usandral ushiyani? Angishiyi lutho. Ndishiya ama opportunities enu lebe niniphathelele the project. But in this particular project, ye upgrade, executive mayor, in terms of community development, sizawushiya umgaqo. Not to N11. We are going to look for a road, and most of the time we look for roads that intersect into our network. Sibona ukuthi umasipala sheme yahluphekela la okanye public works. Siza negotiate kodwa nomasipalati asizigqibeli sisodwa singusandral. Sithi okay la mgaqo sizawenza in support of local municipality. And sizawenza nani bahlali. And that is not part yale budget. Siyazwana? Sizawuza ne budget different. Sithi sawenza lo mgaqo, it's going to be so much millions nansi participation yenu. That is what we are leaving behind as uSandra. And also ndiyavuya ngibona abondaba ezitha executive mayor, when it comes to training your community, ukhonko akazuvesa thamsakhe athi nina nibahle nifanelwe tourism skills. We need to look at the development plan of the municipality. Where is this municipality going? Athina makhosi sasiphi skill abona ukuthi abantu babo bangathi baba ngabanaso i-economy noko ingazana bangazizanela. Sezwana? Ifana nento abana ndithi ndizonifundisa diving but aninalwandle. Uyayibona Moslando? Like andinamenza noko ngolohlobo. So funeka ndinijonge into bana lo masipala mhle oclean bethunana okhulayo unida eziphi skills abantwana, and not necessarily to participate in the project, but a skill that you're going to get and go and look for an opportunity elsewhere. It is very important that we do that. So sizawuyenza ke nale ikhona budget that is set aside for that. Ne interns ke siyayifuna la list ye interns, ama social facilitators together with the municipality nizasita kuloko. Nakulama training ikhona into elisayo bahayethu. funeka sifuduwe nibaningi ndimthatha njani uNontobeko ndingamthathanga uThemba? What criteria did I use? Because ngoku kufuneka sibabize bonke abafuna utrainer and sisho into yobana sizabatrainer kwesi skill aba interested bazawuza. So if sifuna utrainer abantu abayi-60 nifike nina ni-200 asifuduwe executive mayor. Masibe transparent bakithi ngoba ndifuna ukuzwa andizange zonilwisa apha. Ndifuna uthatha uThemba mna ndingamthatha uThabiso ngoba etheni ngoba engokabani yena. So sizawuzenza zonke ezo zinto ke singuSandral kuzoba kuhle eSteve Tshwete. But language, there are 11 official languages. And you have a responsibility to share the information with your neighbor. And the business part of things, the presentation was done there. And I'm talking to the youth. If there's a youth here who cannot understand what I'm saying, talk to me. After this event, I'll be here. So, please. Ayikabi baba. I think now I'm going to hand over to the to you because we're executive mayor dine task endimnike yona because I'm not local. Ndifuna isicacisele imigaqo this 52 kilometers that we have just received as Sandral. We are given 12 months to work on them, make sure that there are no potholes. But one indaba yalamanzi angenayo ezindlini, we will fast track that part because it's not a nice thing. But I'm also gonna say it was not our road before. Ngiyabonga.
No, thank you very much, Sandral and the contractor and my community at large and all councillors present. Izindlela ezithethwe Sandral and for intersection of R555. Ngicabanga ukuthi iyo kakhulu kuyomele enze short sayilungisa ngoba inama more kilos when you're going to Somaphepha, Stoffberg Road. And then also bathethe in R555 intersection to Middleburg. La phakathi mawungathi uya kule old Bojuma uza ngapha kuSomaro Moshel. And also bathethe the Cohen Tool, yes, and the intersection R5 to N11 intersection. So my pelele is a total of 52 kilometer. Steve Tshwete, community business people, let's unite. What happened yesterday is not good because now train yahamba manje. Asibuyele move. In train yahamba. Yahamba train and we are lucky ukuthi umama ufake more budget for Mpumalanga. And thina Steve Tshwete sisathole only 1 billion. Mkhondo there are more than 3 billion. Izindlela zamele zilungiswe. So undaba zokulwa asizame noma silwa thathi mic ukhulume ukuthi hayi man la ngiphathekile kahle nga 1 2 3 4 5 but udistract umhlangano udistract uthi nina futhi ningabenefit. Siyacela kakhulu ukuthi ke ngalawo mazilawo imibuzo eminingi iphenduliwe but umfowethu lapha ubuza umbuzo omuhle nethi ubuza wrongly. Angisho siyavumelana ukuthi akuna company eno grade 9 uthi thina abancane songena inisolokuzabantu baseJozi wayengathi Sandral thina Steve Tshwete sicabanga iproposal ukuthi makuphele project noma ngihamba 10 ama contract about developile bahambe throughout the South Africa. Undeni uyakhuluma ngoba usoluse ku system ye national road but they would know asibafuna abantu bakuphi it's a problem mangathi le keep mission ayikho. So asibambisaneni ukuze ukuthi sikhona change impilo zabantu. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi this was a small vote of thanks. We believe all this participation visitani portal yethu ukuze ukuthi sikhona ukulunga but ne certificate baba se 29 awumphendulanga ngicabanga eze ngaphambili uthi bekenza indlela 2023 usolo usalinde iphepha lakhe usola umniki ngicabanga ukuthi kumele umnike training nike le phepha lalidingayo ukuze abone ukuthi uphuba kanjani la abahlala emaplazini sizobona ukuthi more isikhathi masamba sisebenza njani nabo ukuze bathole more information. Please abavisite i-office le-LED lapho nofuna apply for i-machine or any equipment ekhona siyakhona ukuthi siba assist every year sibeka 5 million for local youth or 36 kuyaphezulu kuyafana. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Now it's yeah. Thank you, Executive Mayor, for the vote of thanks. Isikhathini samanje ke emphakathi siyabonga ukuthi nize nizolalela nokubona contractor and nama opportunities akhona njengoba Executive Mayor ashilo ukuthi sicela ukuthi nivakashele office le-LED kakhulu, especially nina bama business. Cela nivakashele i-office le-LED. Sifiso abantu azange bakubone bongekho la. Nangu usifiso akeze ngaphambili nimbone. Ulapha e-LED usesemncane uyagijima. So nangu usifiso mshitela azange nimbone ne. Mashitela umshitela. Yeah. And also we have Umam Sharon Msebe from infrastructure. Nangu khona naye. Ay sukuma phela bakubone Mam Sharon. Yeah. Nisho newazi ama official kamasipala. Yeah. Let me take this opportunity and thank everyone for attending this briefing session. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.